What's going on, guys? It's your boy Ken, and today I am talking about Shatterstar. I am talking about Longshot. The spotlight is shining bright on this too. This dynamic duo right here is tons of fun to be used in this game. Unfortunately, we don't have the full X Factor faction yet. But we can speculate as to who might be filling those three spots, empty spots, at least as of now, for this X Factor faction. These two guys are already so strong on their own, so I can't wait to see what's gonna happen next with them. But let's get to know these guys a little bit. Go grab some popcorn and let's talk about Longshot and Shatterstar. All right, guys. So who are these X Factor members, you ask? Let's start with Shatterstar and connect the dots all the way to Longshot. While Longshot did appear in the comic books before Shatterstar did, Shatterstar shows up in New Mutants 99, after which he became a member of the original X-Force team alongside well-known mutants like Cable, Domino, and Boom Boom. He later became an employee of X Factor Investigations, a private detective firm starring in the series X Factor. He is a warrior through and through. Shatterstar is a fascinating character with a history similar to that of Doctor Who. There's time travel, there's clones, there's alternate dimensions, and fighting. Lots of fighting. You see, Shatterstar comes from the planet Mojo World, about a century in the future as opposed to the Mojoverse, which coexists with the contemporary Earth dimension, making him technically a time traveler as well as a dimension hopper, which is ruled by alien tyrant Mojo. There, Shatterstar was created as a slave. He claimed that he had no parents, only a gestation chamber, so he was genetically engineered to have enhanced physical capabilities so he could serve as an arena gladiator alongside allied Longshot. So, very similar to other mutants from the future, Shatterstar was actually sent back in time to Earth to find the X-Men and get their assistance in defeating and overthrowing Mojo. He did not find the X-Men though. Shatterstar was either teleported or traveled back in time to Earth at the point just before Cable reorganized the New Mutants into X-Force, where he became a founding member with Cable's assurance that they would help him defeat Mojo. See, this is where things start getting spicy in the comic books. It was hinted in the earlier runs of X-Men that Shatterstar may have been the child of Longshot and X-Men Dazzler in the comics. Beast conducted a medical exam on Shatterstar, and everyone involved was shocked to discover that Shatterstar possessed DNA identical to that of Longshot. So this is how it actually worked out. Apparently, Longshot and Dazzler got busy when they found themselves in the Mojo world. Through it, it was speculated that Dazzler had a miscarriage. This proved to be inaccurate. Time travel became involved because of it. Of course, it did. And things got extra complicated when it was revealed that, dun dun dun, he is Longshot's father. Yep, Shatterstar is his father's father. They share a cookie history, these two. How Shatterstar is the dad of his father is a complicated mess, but here goes nothing. See, Richter is trapped in the Mojoverse and is a slave for gladiator games. His last fight is against a brainwashed Shatterstar, but Longshot appears and saves Richter. Longshot doesn't know Shatterstar yet, then Arise, a creator, mentions how he created everyone around them except for Shatterstar, who plummeted from the skies years earlier. Arise also created a clone of Shatterstar that has been around for a couple days. Richter refers to Longshot as Longshot, but Longshot is confused. It's the first time he's heard the name. Turns out Longshot is the clone. Shatterstar is Longshot's genetic dad. So think of this as a test tube baby. Then Shatterstar, who's back to normal, and Richter realize they're in the past. After the whole dad fiasco, the group time jumps and arrives at the same spot years later to find Dazzler pregnant. At one point in the 90s, Dazzler was pregnant with Longshot's baby, but then the storyline was forgotten just as quickly. Anyway, Shatterstar knew they would be there for this moment. After baby Shatterstar is born, adult Shatterstar says they need to complete the time loop. Shatterstar explained that the baby has to go to the future and experience everything Shatterstar experienced before so that history isn't altered. So in short, Shatterstar needs to be raised in the future so he can time travel to the past so that he can be cloned to create Longshot, his dad, so he can fall in love with Dazzler so they can have a child, Shatterstar. Woo! That was a lot. All right, now let's talk about their powers. Let's start with Shatterstar, who's an absolute beast. He possesses overall superhuman level physical and mental attributes, along with an impressive healing factor. Shatterstar has proven strong enough to knock the thing of the Fantastic Four through a building. He can open portals and teleport. He has an advanced learning ability that allows him to master any weapon in moments, and he can convert sonic frequencies into shockwaves, devastating an opponent. Among other things, also, Shatterstar is known for his dual mystic blades that he carries everywhere he goes. Although Shatterstar is more than capable of fighting off large numbers of opponents without his swords, the weapons make him one of the deadliest mutants around. All right, let's talk Longshot, who was created through genetic engineering. Longshot actually only has 3 fingers and opposable thumbs on each hand. He also has leather-like skin and 2 hearts, for double the loving. He is superhumanly acrobatic. He has also advanced healing abilities. His primary superhuman trait, however, is that he is lucky. He's lucky, he's miraculous in that way. His ability is tied into positive aspects of a personality. Should he attempt to use his powers for selfish or an evil act, or should he give up hope, his powers will fail to function and even backfire on him, giving him bad luck. All right, and let's talk now about Longshot and Shatterstar inside the game. So, Longshot is gonna be Hero Cosmic Mutant Blaster X Factor for the tags. So that means that he is the blaster. Technically, usually, blasters tend to be on the squisher sides, and he's around. I would say he's around average levels when it comes to the health. Damage, he brings the damage. Now, where he really shines is on the crit chance. This guy already has built into his basic 35% crit chance, and he has the highest built-in crit chance on the base stats out of anyone in Marvel Strike Force. And then he's also one of the speedier characters at 113 as well. So Longshot, let's look at his passive real quick. Against all odds, on self or ally crit, build the speed by 10% for self and all X Factor allies. Gain 25% crit chance. All allies gain 10% crit chance. All X Factor allies gain an additional 15% crit chance. Did I mention crit, by the way? Kind of important with this, guys. The T4. On turn, heal for 20% of this character's max health. Then on self or ally crit, build the speed by 10%. So in this case, since we don't have a full X Factor faction yet, definitely want to pair this guy with some other characters that will definitely benefit the passive from this guy and Shatterstar as well. So if you can have characters that maybe you're not using in other teams and they have high crit damage or high crit chances, you might want to pair them with the Dab Bros. So good T4. Actually, this is essential, I think, for his kit as well. So that's probably going to be the #1 recommended T4 on my end. His Knife Assault is the ult, and you get that one with 5 out of 7 energy. So you'll get that in a couple of turns. Attack the primary target for 400% damage. This attack has 50% extra crit chance. Damage is increased by amount equal to this character's total crit chance. Did I mention crit chance again? Jesus. Plus 150% damage to the primary target. This is definitely going to be one that takes a T4 that takes this attack to the next level. However, being that you are not going to be using it as often, I would say that while it's really good, it's still not essential. I would probably end up doing this anyways, because I think 150% damage increase, making this one hit really hard and probably delete enemies from the field when being used. So I think I value that one, but I would say the passive still take precedence over that one. Fan of Knives attacks all enemies for 200% damage plus apply bleed. And then this one already comes right from the get full, and it's only a 2 cooldown ability. This one, you'll go back and forth between using the basic and doing this one. So for that reason alone, even though it's only 60% damage to all enemies, and the fact that you're going to be using this ability pretty often, I think the T4 on this one, it's also a pretty good one to do on him. So if I were to put things in order, I would say start by doing his passive. If you want to put more T4s into him, definitely his special. And then the ult would be the last one that I would do. His basic, attack primary target for 190 damage plus bonus attack for 110 damage. If Shatterstar is an ally, bonus attack for 160 damage. And then adding 50% damage to primary and secondary targets. It's okay. It's definitely a T4 that's a luxury T4 on him. But you know, being that if you're gonna be building him up at that point and do all the T4s on him, you know, all damage on this guy, so you can't really you don't really lose anything by T4 in that one as well. But that's definitely the order that I would do the T4s on Longshot. When it comes to his ISOs, if you're doing anything other than Raider, let me know in the comment section down below. I just don't see how you don't want to make this guy a Raider and continue to increase his crit chances. I mean, I want him at 100% pretty much at this point. They just continue to benefit from crit damage. So yeah, plain and simple, Raider is the only thing that I can think of for him right now. Okay, now let's talk Shatterstar. While I really love Longshot, I think Shatterstar is my favorite model out of the two. They did a good job on him. He looks so badass. He looks like a white ninja pretty much in this game. His tags are Hero, Cosmic, Mutant, Brawler, and X Factor. So he is the Brawler. Once again, that means he brings the damage. So they both bring the damage. They actually brought out the 2 damage dealers for X Factor initially. And the cool thing is they have tremendous synergy between one another, as you guys know from the Marvel history background. The damage is good on his end. He has really strong focus. Crit chance is the same as everybody else, but where he really shines is he's one of the speedier characters in this game. I would say close to being in the top 10 at 124 speed. So he's going to be going fast. He's going to be going often, especially because of all the crit damage and all the filling the speed bar with this guy. Force of Will is his passive on self or ally crit. Barrier self on and X Factor allies for 10% of this character's max health. Gain 25% crit damage. All allies gain 10% crit damage. All X Factor allies gain an additional 50% crit damage. So, you know, with Longshot you get the crit chance, and then with Shatterstar you get the crit damage. So definitely, once again, you don't want to break those two apart. The T4 for him: on turn, heal for 20% of this this character's max health on crit, plus 10% of this character's max health as a barrier as well. This is another one that I think is very essential for both of these guys. So you not only continue to increase the speed bar with Longshot, but then you also add barrier and health with both of these T4s. So I think the two passives are the essential T4s for this guy to really function really well. Empathetic, Onslaught, attack the primary target for 310 damage, plus chain 2 to 3 adjacent targets for 270 damage. Counterattack breaks this chain, so that's something to remember. If Longshot is an ally, instead attack all enemies for 310% damage, plus apply defense up for 2 turns to self and all X Factor allies. So this is another one that starts that is available from the get-go. If you T4 it, you do 40% damage to primary target and secondary targets, chain to 3 adjacent targets. If Longshot is an ally, plus 40% damage to all enemies. So it guarantees the chain to go up to 3, and it increases the damage to all enemies. It is a 4 move cooldown, so this is also another T4 that you might want to consider doing on him. Cross Slash, this one available also first turn, and then for this one it's a little bit more cooldowns than the ult, but it's still a good one. Attack all enemies for 200% piercing, plus apply defense down for 2 turns. Primary target, grant 1 ability energy to a Longshot ally. So this is good. You end up being kind of a semi battery for Longshot as well, feeding him more energy. And then not built into it is that, which is why this one is almost like a luxury T4 at this point, but it's still a good one because it's piercing damage. So it's plus 40% piercing to all targets. So this is another one that you might want to consider. I still think that the ult might be better because you'll use it more often, but not too bad T4s to increase his damage as well. Attack primary target for 160% damage is kind of, I would say it's a little bit on the average end for basics, but this one is plus bonus attacks for 120 damage. But if Longshot is an ally, bonus attack for 120 damage as well. So you know, when you add it all up, this is actually a really good basic on a character. Plus 40% damage to primary target, and then plus 30% damage to secondary targets. Well, that T4 is a little bit on the minimal end, I would say, for basic. So Twin Blades, his legendary Twin Blades, it's a good basic, but at the same time, I think where you want to put T4s on him is definitely his special. I mean, his passive, and then you might want to consider doing his ult and special. later on, but definitely the passive is essential. And I also ended up making him a raider. So right now I have 2 raiders on my X Factor team. I just don't see why you don't want to take advantage of increasing their crit chances and their crit damage overall to make this team function even better. So yeah, there you go. That is the duo that is X Factor. All right, guys, and that is the end of the video. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed learning a little bit more about Shatterstar and Longshot and their crazy background in the Marvel Universe. These two are very, very strong in the Marvel Universe as well as in MSF. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing what the complete X Factor faction will look like. We have some good options with Richter, you know, having the relationship with Shatterstar. Probably multiple men, maybe Havoc, maybe Polaris down the line might come through and fill the rest of this faction. But in the meantime, they are good plug and play characters. So let me know in the comment section down below, where are you guys using your dab bros nowadays? So hopefully you guys enjoy the spotlights. Till the next one, peace.